Hello, hello, my beautiful sacred masculines and anybody else who finds their way to this channel. Are you ready for some deep penetration with Star? I thought so. In this show, we dive deep into various conversations related to sacred sexuality and the society that we've grown up in that kind of shuns and shames the body and perverts our experience of our sexual and sensual energy. So this week we will be really diving into that. I've been in Croatia and been in various churches, really ancient churches. Yesterday I was in one that was I'm actually staying in a palace, which is pretty magical, like you see behind me. Of course, this has been renovated area of the palace, but magical, magical, magical place to be. So this was built in 300 AD. That's when 295 to 300 and something AD, so really old. And the church that I was in yesterday was really old, and there's a treasury that has different relics and artifacts, and it's just been bringing up some really interesting contemplations for me as I've been encountering these religious relics and images, and I'm a Scorpio. I tend to experience things pretty deeply and intensely, so I'm always contemplating and thinking and like really, getting into the deeper meaning of so much of what I'm experiencing. So being here in all this Christianity has really just kind of been sparking a lot of things for me. So I encountered a painting yesterday that was some saint or abbot, I think, fighting off these various demons and devils, and these little demons had flames coming out their ass, which I thought was really great. It pretty much cracked me up. But what was most interesting about this painting was the caption for it, and it's talking about him resisting temptation and sin and fighting off the devil, fighting off urges, fighting off worldly impulses and such, and how celebrated that was, that, and how cherished that ideal is, to be overcoming temptations of the body, basically, is kind of how I was looking at that. And then there's many different temptations we encounter throughout our lives, right, and in our lifetime and in our human experience. But it just was really celebrating the fact that he was overcoming such things. And this is just how I was interpreting it and reading it, and it had me contemplating that is really the mentality of there's been so much sin and judgment and shaming of the bodies, shaming of our sexual and sensual energies, shaming of our passions, and we have all really deeply taken that in, even if we don't subscribe to Christianity. It's in our society. It's what it's all based on, the whole premise of it, right? So regardless if we subscribe or not, it's in there. So I really had to look at my own experience and confront, my own belief systems that are deep under there, even though that's not what I subscribe to. I believe we are in these human bodies to experience all of the sensations and this world, and through our bodies, through the tactile, through pleasure being one of those, but all of our senses, taste, touch, sight, it's not something to overcome and escape and transcend. In those older traditions, like being in the body and the sensuality of the body, that was all sin and evil and something we wanted to escape from. And there was a lot of a blaming of the feminine for tempting. There's that temptation word again, tempting the masculine into sinning, basically, right? So that's a lot that women have taken on, the feminine has taken on, and has had to deal with and move through. So as such, regardless of whether I want to or not, or whether I subscribe to that, it's in there. Those belief systems are in there, And so I was confronted with that and had to look at that a little bit yesterday. Like, am I doing this wrong? You know, is that really the way? Which I don't believe so. I don't believe so. And we've tried this way and it doesn't work. You know, a shunning and shaming of the body, of the feminine, and just being hyper masculine, trying to escape the body, escape the world, and be in that punishment mentality, being punished for enjoying the body, enjoying the world, enjoying abundance, enjoying the material, you know. So it's really done a lot of damage to us as a society, and I know that we're now trying to come back out of that. That has not really supported us, and a lot of us are recognizing that and trying a different way, and I'm really so passionate about that and supporting us all to, you know, release those unhealthy belief systems, to pick them apart and look at them for ourselves with critical thinking versus just we've embodied so much of it because it's been a part of our civilization for thousands of years, you know, and Christianity has been around for a few thousand years now, and we've just really embodied that, again, regardless if we wanted to or not, or if that's what, you know, our thing is. It's our society, you know, it's just what it's based on. And being here in Europe, traveling around, I'm just seeing so many signs of Christianity, and maybe, you know, it's in America too. I'm just so used to it, I'm not really paying attention to it here, being in these older, there's so much history here, and there's so much war and so much of the Christian crusades, you know, how they took over and annihilated, destroyed, wiped out so much of the pagan religions and the beliefs around celebrating the body and being in this sensuality and being in pleasure and being in the earth, in the world, connected to the earth, and really connecting to the feminine and celebrating the feminine. All of that was really wiped out, and so I'm just seeing that a lot more now. I think when Christianity got over to America, there was none of that pagan tradition to wipe out. I mean, of course, the Native Americans and their tradition was wiped out, but it wasn't. It's interesting. I don't associate that so much with the feminine, but of course, they were very much more connected with the earth, and the earth is a feminine energy, but there's not, I don't know, I don't think I'm going to dive into that, actually. I haven't thought that one through, and I don't feel like I'm able to articulate it very well, but something to explore for sure. But I feel like Christianity and that tradition was already a little bit more established when it came over to America. So kind of a different, again, I haven't really thought that one through so much, and that just opened something up for me, so I'll explore that a bit later, and then maybe we'll have another discussion on that. But basically, I'm seeing a lot of how the pagan tradition was wiped out and replaced by this patriarchal Christian experience, and it's very eye-opening, and it has me reflecting a lot, like I said. So I have done a lot of work, personal work, to move out of that guilt, shame, blame, punishment experience associated with sexual energy and sensual energy. You know, having been in the sex work industry for a very long time, I have taken on a lot of that guilt and shame and a lot of that societal judgment around sexuality and sharing myself in such a way, and connecting with a variety of people sexually and sensually, not adhering to the monogamy, marriage, the ways that partnership are traditionally done. So I've just kind of like, you know, that doesn't work for me. It never has, and I've tried to adhere to that, and it just doesn't. It's just not my thing. So, you know, I'm here to really support us to look at those traditions and belief systems that we've taken on, those different models of monogamy, of marriage, of that one-on-one, only one person for our entire life thing. I don't think that's very natural for most people. We've just kind of taken on because, again, that's what we've been handed. That's the model we've been given, and we don't see it working very well for a lot of people. It's a lovely ideal, but it's just not, the reality of it isn't really very supportive of our truth and of our human nature. And, maybe if it had been based on a lot more healthy communication and openness around sexuality, maybe that could be different. But anyway, so far it hasn't been the greatest model for us. So, and it certainly doesn't work for me. So that's always been something I've had to explore and push back on, and really taken a lot of, like I said, guilt, shame, blame, punishment. Like I'm a bad person, and there's something wrong with me. Why can't I just do monogamy? Why can't I just, be in this committed thing? Why, really taking it in at a level like there was something wrong and perverted with me. And it's been a lifelong journey of climbing my way out of that, and pushing back on it, and critical thinking, and really examining that for myself. And does that model work for me? And there was like, oh, I'm not able to commit, I have a problem with commitment, I have a problem with this, that, or the other. And it's just like, no, I don't actually. It's just, that doesn't work for me, and that's fine. And I've run into many people that doesn't work for, and there's a lot of ways that we try to compensate for that type of relationship that many people find themselves in, and then they slowly lose themselves into that. There's a lot of codependency, a lot of very unhealthy relationship patterns out there that we've inherited, that have been handed down to us from our society, from our families, from the different systems and structures that we've grown up in, and then just through our own ways that we perpetuate these unhealthy patterns for ourselves, relationship patterns, and a lot of which showing up in codependency, and really just, like I said, giving ourselves a way to try to please the other, to support that union that isn't really the most beneficial and realistic for us, and doesn't celebrate us to be in our own strength and in our own power, which is what ultimately I'm all about. And then if we come together in union from that place and want to commit from that whole and healthy place of self-love and understanding and confidence in what we're moving into, knowing that is truly what our heart desires, that's beautiful. But so many of us enter into this type of union and this type of commitment from a place of lack, from a place of neediness, from a place of not really understanding what we're getting into, and not knowing ourselves, and not being in our hearts. It's just because that's what's expected, that's what we've been handed, that's what we've been taught. We think that's going to make us whole. We think when we enter into a marriage and connect with that other person, everything's just going to be okay. We're going to live happily ever after. The other person's going to complete us. Things are just going to work out. Sex is going to be just amazing and figure itself out. And it just doesn't happen. And then we start kind of shutting ourselves down systematically, and compromising, and trying to mold ourselves into this thing that's going to be acceptable to the other person, acceptable to our family, acceptable to society, and on and on and on. And by the end, we're just, the further we go along, the more frustrated, resentful, angry, shut down, confused, sad, alone, distracted, addicted to various things to cope with our sadness, that we end up becoming. And scared, very fearful of shining our light bright, very fearful of being ourselves, very fearful of doing anything to rock the boat, very fearful of trying to step into the truth of ourselves, and actually not even knowing what that truth is, because we've taken on so much shit, so many limitations, so much conditioning, so much, by the end, and like I said, for me, it was very confusing, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't adhere to this. This doesn't work for me. What's wrong with me? I have to change myself to try to fit into that model, to fit into that box. And the more I tried to do that, the more and more I would just get more frustrated, more shut down, more confused, more angry, more like, and angry at God, at source, and very disconnected spiritually, because it's just like, what is wrong with me? I felt like everybody else had this figured out, and there was something deeply flawed about me. No, it's not flawed about us. Our system is flawed, and we need to break free and break out of that system. So I've just been, again, as I, return back to the beginning of our conversation, and seeing all this different Christian iconography, relics, artifacts, churches, spaces, I'm just kind of confronted again by all of it, and just in kind of a deeper way. The more we go along on our spiritual path, the more we clear out the layers, and the more we get to look at things, and then they move into deeper levels, right? That's that deep penetration we're talking about. We keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper into all of this, and peeling back the layers and what it really truly means for us at so many levels, body, mind, and spirit. We've taken all of this in. So yeah, I've just been doing a lot of contemplation and recognizing, more and more, like, yes, that model does not work. It doesn't work for me. So I've just been revisiting, like, because it comes up again, and I'm confronted. When I saw that image yesterday, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I doing this all wrong? It's like, no, I'm not doing this all wrong. And it's interesting. You look around at these churches, and you look around at all the images. They're dark, dark, dark. All these paintings are like super dark paint. It was the dark ages, it's dark. Nobody's smiling. Nobody's happy. Nobody's in this place of love and joy and connection, and just like, that is not the feeling of the images or anything in the space. It's not a feeling of love and joy and celebration. It's a feeling of dark, heavy, repression, sin, shame, punishment. Again, that is not how I want to feel. That is not what I want to align with. And I don't think a lot of us do. It really is that hell punishment mentality, that we're gonna go to hell and burn in hell for eternity if we do this, that, or the other, and it's just, wow, that's some heavy shit to take on there, and it's a lot of burden. It's a lot of, like, really trying again to mold ourselves into this model that just simply doesn't work, and it's so repressive. So I was also in my meditation today, and maybe this is a whole different topic, but it just came in, so I'll just share it as well. There's I was at the Temple of Apollo and the Oracle of Delphi recently, and over that temple there's a number of maxims. What I've always heard was that there's like 2 maxims: know thyself and nothing in excess. Turns out there's actually like 100 maxims that were carved into these walls, carved into this temple. But the nothing in excess, I was contemplating that during my meditation today, as contemplating this painting that I saw, and the wording that went with this painting. And then I was also reminded of, because I'm a Scorpio, I have 3 planets in Scorpio. I have a lot of energy that's really intense, and excess has been my thing. I was deep into drugs and alcohol, deep into whatever I get into, deep into sexuality. Excess has been my thing. I've not adhered to that nothing in excess, and as I've gotten older and more wisdom along the way, I don't go into that extreme so much. But I was reminded of another quote from William Blake: the road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom. And it's just like, yes, that's kind of been my journey. I've taken it to excess, and yeah, along with that, you do understand what happens when you go in excess. You recognize the need to temper, and the wisdom in not going that route, or not being in excess. So as a result, you move into less excess and have more equanimity in your experience. And then the Buddhists, there's the middle way path, where they're like not doing extremes either. So there's a lot of different ways, basically, to say, like, there's no right or wrong to this. Like we've been handed with Christianity, with there's that excess of repression and shutting down of the body, and that sin and shame. That's an excessive route as well, right? It's not allowing any flow, any movement, any experience of that. If you go into the pleasure, for this particular abbot there, if he was to do anything on the other side of that total repression and what's the word I'm looking for? the negation of the body and of the pleasure and of any temptation, that's, I just kind of lost my thought there, but that's an excess, right? That's an excess. So that is not working with all of our senses, all of our experience. It's really shutting down so much, and that's where a problem. That's why a lot of the, what comes to mind is the Catholic Church and the bishops and such, all of the sexual abuse of young boys and girls and nuns with girls as well. It's happened with, when you take it to that excess and that extreme and shut down really important parts of the human experience, it comes out sideways because it's not natural, it's not healthy, and the work hasn't been done on the other side to get to a place of healthiness with the sexual energy and the sensual energy and with the body to just shut it down. If you haven't moved through and worked through opening into those energies and moving them in a healthy way, and you just shut them down, it's gonna come out sideways. It's not natural. That's a different type of excess, right? Excessively repressed. So again, it's a balance, it's a harmony, it's an exploration of all of it. It's an embrace of all of our human experience, and sometimes we take it into excess to understand that that isn't the healthy way. So that can show up in a variety of different ways for us. So anyway, those are all the things that have been on my mind and that have been coming up for me. So I just wanted to bring that into our discussion and see what that sparks for you. I don't have the answers for all of this. It's a deep exploration that we go on for ourselves. We need to look at in sacred sexuality. We need to look at those belief systems that we've taken on without question, without critical thinking, that we've just again inherited from society, from our families, from all the systems. Look at those different role models. We've been handed different models like monogamy, marriage, these different institutions. Do they actually work for us? Have we just taken them on and just assumed that's the way it's supposed to be? Or have we sat down and really critically thought about that? Does that work for me? Is that how my energy flows? Is that what I truly desire from my heart? Or is it desire from needing to adhere and needing to be accepted and needing to fit into societal models and structures and boxes, conditioning, limitations that we've been handed to be accepted by society, by our families, by churches, by religion? Have you taken the time to explore that? That is the key basis of sacred sexuality and Tantra. I think it's really diving in and looking at those belief systems, those unhealthy things that are not supporting our highest good, and clearing those out. And we can't clear them out until we dive in and explore a little bit and understand what they are. What are those belief systems we've taken on? Again, so much of it is unconscious, and we've just taken it at face value because that's what we've grown up in. So we need to look at that for ourselves and see if that's actually working for us, and if it's not, then what? How do we start climbing out? Like I said, I had to do a lot of work around those unhealthy belief systems that I just took on. I didn't even really question. I just again assumed something was wrong with me because I didn't fit the model. I wasn't happy in the model. I couldn't make the model work for me. I kept fucking up the model, I kept fucking up monogamy. It's just like, and until I finally just embraced, I love to be with a variety of people. I love to experience a lot of different energies. And when I discovered sex work, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is where I can be celebrated, and my energy is cherished, and I don't have to commit to any long-term. We're not all of a sudden dating just because we had a gorgeous sexual experience, and now you go your way, I go my way, and everybody's happy, and we just enjoyed an amazing experience. And we're not having to get married now. We're not having to start dating. I don't need to get a bunch of text messages from you. I don't need you know, all of this commitment from you. I don't even need a follow-up phone call. It's just like, and then finally I had a way to like really step into my power, step into my energies, step into having all the experiences I long to experience without causing any heartache for myself or for others. The boundaries were very clear. Everybody knew what we were doing, what was going on. It was all agreed upon and just gorgeous. And but that took a lot of many years to find my way into that, into what was gonna really work with me and support me. And now I'm just like, it's amazing the freedom I have, and I'm so passionate about sharing that with others and helping others to find what works for them, and open up into a different way. That doesn't mean that everybody needs to go and be a sex worker, but connecting with partners that really celebrate their sexual energy, and partners that are strong and confident in their own sexual energy. Again, we're not going to connect with people that are really supportive for us until we do that work for ourselves, and we know who we are, we know what we want, we know how our energy runs, and we're able to have those conversations. We're confident in ourselves, confident and courageous enough in ourselves to have those conversations. But we have to have the conversations with ourselves first. We can't just walk into a relationship and it's all going to be figured out. It starts within. And this is where I'm going to plug my program, my 12-week program that's coming up, starts in June, the next cohort, which is all about this. We're going to really dive into these belief systems and look at what have you taken on that's not supporting you, and where are you ready to move out of some of that. But again, we have to dive into it, open it up, that deep penetration, get in there, and what are those layers of belief systems that we've taken on? What have you taken on that's not serving you, that's permeating every aspect of your life, body, mind, spirit, all your relationships, all your work, really kind of weighing you down and keeping you in a box that society's handed to you. A lot of limitation, a lot of conditioning. This is all about moving out of that conditioning and limitation, really stepping into your power, stepping into your confidence and your courage. But that starts with getting underneath those belief systems, picking them apart and seeing like, oh my gosh, okay, I've been carrying that around for how long? Wow, I don't even subscribe to that. That's not even me, So then what are your belief systems? What are your values? And what is true for you? How can you start living in alignment with that? And once you figure all that out, once you've moved through the unhealthy belief systems and cleared some of that out and gotten clear on it, we really have to be able to see it and articulate and understand it. Once we've gotten clear on that, then we can be like, oh, okay, actually what I truly value is this. And then stepping into the courage and the confidence to start aligning with that and living from those values in a way that really supports your spiritual growth, your relationships, your passion, your purpose, your sexual and sensual energy and connections, really just being in your power. Wow. So that's what that program is all about. I invite you to check out my website for so much more information about that, and gets a lot more detail. But again, starts in June, and it's going to be a really powerful cohort. There's a lot of testimonials on my website as well to see what, don't take my word for it. You can see what other people have experienced going through the program. Drastically life-changing, really. People really releasing a lot of the old stuff that is not serving them, and making healthy, strong decisions for themselves that align them with who they truly are. But they have to really connect with who they truly are underneath all the crap. So that comes with energy healing sessions every week, because we got to get in there and clear that energy out too. We got to bypass all the mental talking about it too. It's helpful to understand it, but we got to get in there and get into the energy that is stuck and stagnant, that we've been carrying around, inherited energy. So really important piece of the program, the energy healing and the sound healing. So, but again, check out my website when you're ready for that. So, I think we're going to go into the tarot cards to see what they have to say to support us on our journey. So I have just this week changed the format. This was our weekly Sacred Sexuality Tarot and Oracle card reading, but I've switched the name of it to Deep Penetrations with Star, because we get deep into it, and these aren't relegated to just a weekly. All the topics are good every week, so I was just like, I'm going to remove that weekly thing and remove putting dates on it, because I don't want people to not watch them because they think it's associated with some other week, you know. So it's just topics that are timely, are timeless, you know, that we're always, this is always important information. So we changed our format a little bit, but yes, let's go to the cards. We'll pull a couple of cards. So thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Father, Son. Thank you, Spirit Guides and Helpers. Thank you, Ancestors. Thank you to all the sacred feminine, sacred masculine energies that support us so beautifully on our journey. Asking for support and wisdom to help us align more fully with our truth, with the truth of our energy, beyond the limitations and the conditioning that society has handed us. How do we open into more of the truth of who we are, into our passion, into our purpose, into the gorgeousness of our sacred sexual energy, right? And our beautiful bodies and this gorgeous planet that we live on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's see what they have to say. Perfect, right? Okay. I think it's that one. Wow, it's like a similar reading to recently. Wow. Okay. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous energies. It starts off with the 10 of Swords. That's that mental energy. And I really think of that as all of these, look at all those beliefs that are just like, stick a fork in me, I'm done. These are all the very unhealthy belief systems and thought processes that we've taken on, the limitations, the conditioning. They're really like, they've destroyed this person, you know, done, over it. This is a completion. This is the ending of these very unhealthy belief systems, this very unhealthy cycle. It's time to move on. So yeah, this is gorgeous. And then Justice. This is the scales of justice right here. This is a beautiful card as well. So it's time to find greater harmony, greater balance to our experience, bringing in all aspects of our experience, body, mind, and spirit. We can't go too far in either direction. That's where the imbalance comes, and that's where the unhealthy experience, the heartache, comes from. You know, that's his. So the time is now. The time is now to start bringing in a greater balance, and that's how I'm reading this card right now. And the wheels are turning, you know, or that with the wheel. I'm thinking of the turning of the tides right now. There's the justice is, we've been too far in this other, on one side of it, you know, too much in the masculine and the shunning and the shaming of the body, and it's time to come back onto the other side, and not just come onto the other side, but integrate all parts of ourselves, all the masculine, all the feminine, the gorgeous earth that we live on, all of the elements. If you've been watching my element series, earth, air, fire, water, spirit, bringing it all in, and that's Holy Trinity, body, mind, and spirit, bringing all of it in, into balance. That's the justice. That's the time. It's we've been on the other side. Now it's time to try a different way and to move into a different way. And the time is now. You know, a lot of those systems and structures are breaking down, and that's what this is too. So it's a time of coming into our power now, and looking at a different way, and moving out of this real lack mentality, this poverty consciousness, this unhealthy way of being in the world, and really taking it in. That this is taking it in, body, mind, and spirit. There's you know, these people, this is not opening. This is a church apparently that they're walking by. That's what it's usually thought of as, a church with the stained glass windows. So it's interesting as we're talking about religion and Christianity, that they're outside of this church and walking through. Maybe they're leaving the church and they're like, oh my God, that kicked my ass, this unhealthy religious belief system, this dogmatic belief system. That's a great way to read this card. That's what happened when we dive into that. Again, too much in excess, right? Just too much, not finding a balance, not balancing the scales of justice here, just we've gotten our asses kicked by these belief systems and these societal structures, and this is not where we want to be. So then we move into the Magician. It's time to create our own reality. We have all the tools. Here's the elements: earth, air, fire, water. Again, check out that the series I just did on the elements of sacred sexuality, tantric elements. Really powerful understanding of how we can work with the elements to create our own reality and what happens when the elements are out of balance. So check that out. And again, here I'm gonna tout my program again. This is how you learn to create your own reality when you get a handle on all of these unhealthy belief systems, and you take control. Create your own reality. Discover the belief systems, the systems that are going to work for you, that really support you to be in your power. And then we're going to step into a whole new, brand new way of being. This is the beginning. This is a gorgeous card of spiritual growth and ascension. This is beautiful. We're really going to move out of this place of just, and this lack and this poverty and this disconnection. Look at, there's disease in the body. That's not healthy. This is not healthy. Nobody's happy here. This is bad news. And we're going to move into this gorgeous new spiritual connection with our body, mind, and spirit, with our sensual energy, with our sexual energy. It's a beautiful experience. It's our birthright. It's our creative energy. It's our life force energy. It is the divine, and we're going to come into a whole new way of experiencing our relationships, our own passion, our purpose, our sexual energy, our connection to source. When we take control and we create our own reality, we take control and we move out of this all of these unhealthy belief systems. But again, that's a journey. It's a personal journey that we all need to go on to really recognize what it is that we've taken on and how we can move out of that and start aligning with our own truth and our own values, and really understanding what those are. But it is a self-exploration, because again, your values are your values. You don't need to take on what somebody else's values are and what looks good for somebody else and take that on for yourself if it doesn't feel right. Too many of us have outsourced our power. That's, again, with this dogmatic religious belief system, we've outsourced our power into what these people say our values are supposed to be. And we've just taken it at face value. A lot of us, value monogamy, and we haven't even picked it apart and done some critical thinking on it. Does that truly work for me? We've just taken it on. We value a lot of things that we haven't really picked apart and really explored for ourselves. And if you do really truly value monogamy from a heart-based place, because that's truly how your energy works, and it's just really lights you up and makes you soul sing, fuck yeah, that's amazing. That is awesome. But so many people have just taken it on, again, at face value, and they haven't really explored that for themselves. And a lot of us don't even get the opportunity to, because we've been handed that from day one. So we're, from grade school, middle school, high school, it's monogamy, it's one person. And that's part of where I fucked up, when I started connecting with people sexually and in relationships. I wanted to explore and be with a variety of people. So I was labeled a slut. I was a bad influence. I was this, I was that. And it was a lot to take on, but because I didn't want to just be with one person. But again, this is why it's time for us to explore these values that we've been given and figure out what is important for us, what really lights us up, where do we shine, what supports us to be in our light in the best way, what supports our highest good, really, and the highest good of those, all involved, right? It's just a beautiful reading. And again, I'm going to bring you back to to my program when you're ready to deep dive into these, talk about some deep penetration. Really, it's all of this is speaking to that. It's time, and this program in particular will really support you in your process to really come into your truth and figure out what that is, and help you find the courage and confidence to really start aligning with that in all aspects of your life, body, mind, spirit, relationship, career, passion and purpose, sexuality, really like what is your truth, what lights you up, and how do you step into that and create the life that supports that. That's what this is all about. Oh my gosh. It's taken me a while to figure out like what truly lights me up. It's this, talking about sexuality, world travel, being in luxury. Like, I love this. And that's the world I've created for myself, and connecting with various partners and having amazing sexual experiences. That's the life I've created for myself because it lights me up, it lights me up. And I just am so passionate about supporting us all to find what lights us up and to really be in that. So I think I'll close on that. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful. And depending whenever you're coming to this, maybe like this program starts in the next cohort is June of 2024. So if this is speaking to you, definitely check out my website and look into that. And if it's beyond that time, check it out and see when the next one is showing up for you, because there'll be another one scheduled too. So and also we have our tantric pilgrimage to India coming up, Sacred Sexuality, Authentic Tantra, where we're going to deep dive into more of this and really continue to go deep, keep taking it to deeper and deeper levels, just really opening it up for ourselves and getting in alignment with our passion, with our purpose. Beautiful, gorgeous energies. Let's see, is there anything more I want to say right now? I feel like that's it. Please like, comment, and subscribe to help to get this into the algorithm. I'm really passionate about getting this information to more people so we can really, as a collective, like rise up and be in our power, moving away from those unhealthy systems that simply are not serving us anymore. At one time that was necessary for our growth and our evolution. Now we're in a different phase of our human evolution, and it's time for some different models, different ways. And I'm just so excited about having these discussions and helping us to all step into our power and quit outsourcing our power. That's what I was going to say earlier about the dogmatic religious belief systems. We've been outsourcing our power to those values and such that aren't ours, that aren't ours, and trusting other people to tell us what we're supposed to move towards when it just simply doesn't work for us, So let's question that. Let's push back on that. Let's rise up and be in what works for us, So visit my website for so many more resources to support you on your sacred sexuality journey and your spiritual journey. I offer a variety of sessions, one-on-one sessions, in addition to the program and pilgrimage. I offer one-on-one sacred sexuality sessions that are more about teaching you how to do sacred sexuality ritual, but doing that ritual together. And I also offer companionship sessions if you're interested in just exploring sexual energy together. So reach out when you're ready to do that. And I look forward to connecting with you. Thank you so much. I hope you have a gorgeous, gorgeous day. Bye, y'all.